Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. It's great to have you. If you are new to the channel, a welcome to you. It's great to have you join us. I am going to be coloring hair in Mysteria by E Koldareva, and I will be using Polychromos pencils. So I will get started with that in a few minutes while you join me. Again, I'm using a color combination I got off Kirsty Partridge Art's YouTube channel. I really do like her tutorials, and as you can see, I have made some progress, although my hair is definitely the lighter brown than her tutorial. Her tutorial was definitely more brunette. So I'm not sure, I'm not actually sure what I need to do with this. But I'm going to do this curl here, and I'll do this part of her hair and try and implement the same sort of techniques that I did for the other side of her hair. So let's have a look and see what we can do. I'm first going to use the Burnt Ochre, and I'm going to put in a base layer where all my highlights, so everywhere there are very white patches, I'm going to use my Bister, and I'm not going to go in circular motion. I'm going to be going more in that feathering technique. Apologies for any sounds you hear in the background. My family are just getting ready for bed, so that my husband is putting my kids to bed for me while I just pop on and do a bit of a live stream. Now my challenge here is to make sure I match what I've already done. I think I figured out though where I might be going wrong with these tutorials. I think I was supposed to put the brown over all the brown ochre, and I think that's where I went wrong and why I've got a much lighter hair color. But nevertheless, we'll make it work. Hi Carly, how are you? It's great to have you. I'm actually okay, although this evening I'm feeling a bit fatigued, so I'm a bit run down. But other than that, doing all right. Just have a lot on my plate. How has your week been? Or your weekend? How was your weekend? Because it's Monday, so yeah. How was your weekend? Oh, it's okay. I have days where I just feel a bit flat, and then I'll pick up again. I've had a few late nights, so it's probably just that. Well, sounds like you had a busy weekend. Hope the errand running was fun and productive. I think what I'm going to do is do her eyebrows. It's bothering me not having her eyebrows done. It just feels like her face is half done. So if I do her eyebrows, I'll feel like her face is complete. Oh, that's lovely. Walking around the park, and that you had nice weather. Yeah, the weather over here wasn't too bad. A little bit on and off with rain. And we went for a barbecue with some people and met some new people, so that was great. Okay, so now, exactly, a girl needs her brows done. I'm going to come in with my Nougat. And again, it's that flicking motion. And I always find with eyebrows, I need to be careful I don't add more little hairs than what she actually has been given. It's so easy to come there and next thing you know, she's got bushy eyebrows instead of beautiful tweezed eyebrows. I've got to just make sure I don't add more. Okay, so I'll do her eyebrows as I do her hair. So now I'm going to come in. I want to add shadows. So I'm going to take a black pencil very lightly and start adding some shadows in here. Now technically with Polychromos you should build up your layers and not do black first, but I want to make sure I don't lose my shadows in her hair. And I'm just going very light. I don't want to go too dark. Oh, I'm so glad you like her, Cully. As you can see, I didn't get the brunette part of her. I really struggled. So I followed Kirsty Partridge Art's tutorial on brown hair or brunettes, and this was my result. So I need to keep working and figuring out how to actually make hair correctly, because I take these color palettes off all these fancy artists and then I don't end up with the same result. I get a totally different hair color. It's like Gemma Chambers' art. She has a tutorial on how to do black hair, and when I tried it I ended up with like more of a grayish kind of hair than a black hair. So I really am a little lost as to what I'm doing wrong. But it still looks pretty. Hi Leslie, how are you? How was your weekend? How are you feeling? Did you come right with your sound? My heart really went out to you with those sound challenges you've been having. Really hope you've come right. Just adding black everywhere we go. Okay, so then we'll do some black hairs in her eyebrows. And if you look carefully at Anastasia E Koldareva's portraits, when she does her eyebrows, she doesn't do all the lines in the same direction. She actually varies it. And that's what makes it look so good, because our eyebrow hairs don't actually go in the same direction. Oh, I'm so glad you came right, Leslie. That's such a relief. Hi, Connie. How are you? Okay, so now I'm going to come back to the Nougat and I saw Lana Green finally has her coloring book available on Amazon, US and UK now, so that's exciting, especially if you like portraits. So when you're doing brunette hair, you go over the black with all the browns. Yeah, flick, flick, flick. I'm going to be doing all the flicking tonight. Hi, Angela. How are you? I actually find the flicking motion quite therapeutic, actually. There's a soothing nature in it. I quite like it. But with hair, you can't rush it. It really, especially if you want a lot of depth in your hair, it needs to be worked in many layers. And with a lot of patience. So I think I spent 2 or 3 hours just on the hair on the other side. And I'm still not happy with it, so, but I want to see how she looks like if I do all her hair, and then I can decide. But I think it needs more layers. The nice thing with the polys is they're meant to be layered, so you can really do a lot with them, and especially on these papers, in Anastasia's books, I think they actually work really well. I'm torn between whether I like Prismas more on in Anastasia E Koldareva's books, or if I like Polly's more. I think it's like 50-50 for me, because they do both layer up really well. Has anyone ever used an etching knife to help create fur texture or hair? I've seen quite a few artists use it, and I just don't have the guts to try. I'm really scared I'm going to cut holes in my paper. I was actually thinking I want to go onto Chris Cheng's YouTube channel and find some of her background tutorials and see if I can do a color, just follow along and learn some of her background styles, because I get so lost when it comes to backgrounds. And I love her backgrounds. I think she does really spectacular work. Oh, and the other thing I noticed on Instagram, Secret Garden is being celebrated its 10th anniversary. So apparently Joanna Basford is adding a couple of new illustrations, and she's reprinting the Secret Garden as a limited edition. So I thought, actually, I might look at getting myself a copy, because Secret Garden was the first coloring book I bought and actually worked a fair amount in when I first got my set of German artists colored pencils. And I mean, the boys were really little when I had the Secret Garden when I first bought it. I mean, I think, yeah, they were 2 toddlers, and I was probably pregnant with my 3rd. So I've got like child scribbles in my book and all of that. So I thought, if I get the new edition of Joanna Basford's Secret Garden, then I've got something I could, you know, retry some of the old illustrations I did when I was first learning colored pencils. Something along those lines. Hi Jody, how are you? Carly, I use Prismacolor pencils for the Jasmine Beckett Griffith Gothic page. I found they really, well, to be honest, they're the only pencils I've tried. I am in the mood though to do one of the more darker pages. It's really quite funny because I'm not actually that way inclined, but I do fancy coloring one of her pages again, and I thought it would be nice to maybe do one of the more spooky dark ones, just for the heck of it. But then I haven't picked it up and done anything, so it might just be a passing phase. Because I don't really like spooky or dark stuff. Oh, thank you. I loved my goth girl. She was one of my best pictures for the year so far. I've got one of the other fairy tale pages in the same book I need to finish colouring for the checklist challenge. So many whips and not enough time. So many other colouring pages to colour. Why would I want to finish whips? Yeah, I can't really do any form of scary, really. Even cute scary. I think Jasmine Beckett Griffiths, some of them I can handle. Maybe because I can create it my own. But I'm not going to go and, you know, change up my whole colouring book collection and fill it with cute, scary, gory, creepy kind of stuff. I much prefer cute, innocent. I like a lot of realistic stuff. And I find with this portrait, I'm being really reminded about how much I actually love colouring portraits. I like beautiful animals. It's tricky because as you colour in and you explore, it's one thing to colour in and it's another to try and find what is your flavour, what do you like to colour. Sometimes what we think we like to colour and what our sweet spot is can be very different. I don't like colouring words. I much prefer drawing or writing words. I don't like colouring text. I find it just weird. I'm like, what do I do? Do I do a gradient? Do I mix it up? Do I just use a plain boring color? So I don't really have a fancy for colouring in text. Exactly. The things you like to change as quickly as you move. Yeah, that's exactly my predicament. No, I don't think I like colouring dolls. I think it depends on the doll. No. The thought just goes no. My grandmother actually used to make porcelain dolls, and she would paint the face, even the eyes. Some of the eyes she would paint as well. So she taught us a little bit about painting faces and painting eyes when we were younger. And she even entered a couple of porcelain doll shows. So that was fun and interesting. But then if you think of like creepy dolls, if you put creepy and dolls together, my brain just goes to some horror stuff, which I never watched, but I just know of. And I'm like, no, I mean, one of the recent toys we see in the toy store actually comes from a horror game show, and my youngest and a friend were joking around not knowing what it was, and I did some research, and then I showed it to him and I said, look, this is what you playing around with. You see, this isn't this is creepy. Let's not play that. Change your game. I mean, each to their own, really. It's just not for me. That's why I don't do Halloween, and probably why the Halloween section of the coloring checklist challenge will probably not get completed, because I just don't like Halloween. I don't see the point of it. Oh, okay. As in the chibi dolls. Yeah, I tried the Chibi Girls. I did buy one of the books. I think it was a Jade Summer book. And I gave it a whirl. And then I just decided I didn't like it. So, yeah, that was the end of that. But then I'm not convinced I'm good with manga either, or anime. It's very different style. It's like fish. Oh, thank you. Glad you like it. I would often feel when I'm coloring hair that I should do the whole head in one sitting, just so I make sure that the hair looks the same. But then there's no ways you can color a full head of hair in a few hours. Well, not the way I color it. Hi Kenny, how are you? Okay, so now I'm going to bring in the burnt umber and just keep going over all the areas I put black in. So as long as you put other colors over your black, it won't look so flat. The other thing I thought of doing with her hair, but I can always do it off camera, is to take mineral spirits or an odorless solvent and then blend out all her hair and then go over it again and build up more layers. Because at least with the solvent, you're not eating away at the tooth of the paper, but you're blending all the pigment together. Oh, that's fabulous, Kenny. Yeah, I sat down the one day and I did this, but I had to stop her hair so I could show, well, so I could do some of it on a live stream today. But yeah, it's a challenge because sometimes I find like when you carry on coloring and then you stop for whatever reason, it's very easy to break that flow for the picture, and then getting back into it can be a bit of a challenge. But I mean, life happens, so not much we can do except just carry on. But yeah, in an ideal world, I would prefer to sit down and color all the hair in one go. Leslie, I don't do a lot of diamond art, but when I have bought diamond art kits, I personally prefer the bigger pictures. So think a bit big, about an A3 size, and normally for me they're around 7 to 8 pounds, so that's probably close to $10, and I want them to come with all the drills and the pen and that sort of thing. And then when I get it, I put washi tape on the border so all that sticky stuff doesn't pick up any dirt and cause the frame to look dirty. And then I just try and find a picture I know someone will like, or that I like, or if it's for the kids, something that they're interested in. Sometimes the smaller diamond art pictures are handy because you can get them done quickly, but I find the really nice pictures are often in the bigger sizes. Oh, I so hear you, Leslie, with the smaller elements and moving around the page. I find with small stuff, I tend to get overwhelmed. I color here, then I'm here, and then down, and move around so much. And then eventually my brain will stop panicking and relax, and then I'll zone in on one thing. Oh, exactly, Connie. If you leave it unfinished, you don't get the same results when you come back. That's exactly it. And that's what I'm worried is going to happen to her hair. But it's okay. We're going to just... The nice thing is I can always darken this. So if this side I'm doing here gets too dark, I'll just fix the other side. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in Burnt Sienna, and apparently the Burnt Sienna is to blend it out into the highlighted zone. Exactly. I like that. Abandoned pages, not whips. Or maybe they're abandoned temporarily abandoned pages. Right, so it's just really a case of flick, 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 flick for hours and hours. Apparently, Teresa Goodrich is bringing out a Christmas Gnomes coloring book towards the end of the year. I'm just trying to think of all the coloring news that I've picked up on lately. But I don't think there's much, really. Okay, so let's see. What are your, so which YouTube channel is your go-to for color along or to help you learn a technique that you're interested in? I mean, who do you generally default to? I've seen quite a few people are interested in Olivia Oderont. Is that right? I hope I pronounced her name correctly. And from what I've seen, her work is really, really good. Oh wow, Lizzie, you don't like gnomes. That's cool. I don't like garden gnomes. I love Christmas gnomes. I think it's just because they're Christmas and I love Christmas. So I can do Christmas gnomes, but those garden gnomes, no, they're creepy. It's just, yeah. So Leslie, you like My Colourful Country Life? Yeah, she's really good. Fair enough, Connie. It depends on what you're looking for. I find I'm like that with colour alongs. I tend to adapt colour alongs to whatever page I'm doing and work with that. Or I'll pick a certain area that I want to work on, and then I'll look around different artists and see who's got a YouTube channel and what's available on their YouTube channel, and then try and see what I can follow and learn from. Okay, so exactly, so many subjects and something for everyone. I don't mind fairies and elves and that sort of thing. I love fantasy. I'm not good at watching fantasy, but I do like fantasy. As long as it's not creepy. So, you know, watching Lord of the Rings, for instance, I really enjoy the story, but I spend a lot of my time hiding hiding behind a pillow or behind my hands or behind a blanket. And sometimes I'll watch a movie or a series because I like the story, and then I just duck when I can't handle the images. If it's really bad though and I feel it affects me, I then tell my husband I can't watch this, and then he watches it, and he's a lot more able to watch things and detach from story than what I am. I immerse myself in story. So when I stopped watching Downton Abbey, for example, because I got so cross in the end of the third season where one of the main characters passed away, and I didn't have the patience for it. I felt totally betrayed because they were just chopping and changing characters in the story, and I didn't see the point, and so I get very attached to story characters. I'm really silly, but yeah, it's just what it is. So anything I watch generally needs to have a happy ending, because if it doesn't, I'm very upset, and I get emotionally caught up in the stories and the movies I watch. Oopsie, this went too far. Oh, exactly. I can't do the orcs. I've tried so many times and I just get creeped out. I'm like, no, Yeah, if it doesn't have a happy ending, I'm not happy. Okay, so now what I did learn, I can't remember if I do more layers or not, but you can take a white pencil, especially a Prismacolor, and you can go over and you can blend your highlights into your shadows, and it just softens everything out. And then you go back over it. with all your pencils. I might be doing this a bit early. Oh gosh, I would be so angry too if I watched a story and it had an unhappy ending after 3 hours. Yeah, that would not impress me. I mean, even the books I read, I wanted to have a happy ending, because I kind of feel like life has got enough drama of its own, and I like the reassurance that in a story, whether I watch it or read it, the hero wins and all things are made right and there's hope. So I definitely need that reassurance. And maybe that's why I don't like watching soap operas. So my mom loves soapies. She used to have them all planned out when we were growing up. And from like 5 in the afternoon until 7:30 at night, it was my mom's programs. And they were all soap operas. But I just found the constant drama of the soap operas just exhausting. Like, there is no way that that amount of drama is healthy. Oh, that must have been so hard for your sister to get rid of one of her characters. I can understand that the story needs it, but oh, I don't know if I could do that. It'd be like saying goodbye to my best friend or something. So what type of books is your sister writing? And what type of books do you all like to read? Are you into reading? Not your thing? Oh, I remember Lost. Yeah, we watched that. I was fine for the first few seasons, and then towards the end I got really irritated with it because it just felt like there was no point, and my husband and some of my friends absolutely loved it. They thought it was brilliant and the psychology behind Lost was fantastic. And I was like, somebody please put something else on. I just about had it. So I did watch the whole thing, but I wasn't very impressed. And I don't know. I mean, the ending of Lost, I don't know if I even now like the way that it ended. I mean, could they have ended it better? Maybe. Oh, that sounds cool. Historic fantasy fairy tale. That sounds really cool. Yeah, Kenny, depending on what you like, Lost might not have been really anything you missed out on. It depends entirely on your style of show. My mentor loved it because she loves psychology, and so it was really up her alley. Oh really, Connie, you loved it, but the last season was, yeah, it was bleh. I'm just sharpening all my pencils because they are getting a little flat. And with hair, you want nice sharp pencils. Oh wow, okay, so he made sure his new series ended in a satisfying way. Well, at least he learned. What other series did he release? There was another TV series we were watching at the same time as Lost. It was called, I think it was called Psych. It's a psychology comedy sort of program, and this sort of a spring on the Mentalist and Lie to Me, but with a more comedian sort of feel to it. And that was really fun because they were solving cases, and yet the reason this guy was so good was because he picked up on people's verbal body language, and kind of like a bit of a modern day Sherlock Holmes type thing. So I quite enjoyed that because it was fun. Oh, I don't know 100 or Outpost. I'd have to ask my husband. I mean, he's been watching things like The Witcher, and I think he watched Outlander. He watches so much more TV than I do. But he will do other things while he's watching TV. I think he's been watching like all the Viking stuff on Netflix. All the stuff that I can't watch, he watches. Fringe. Ooh. I don't know if I know that one either. Oh, you see, you guys are telling me all about these cool TV programs, and I'm just, yeah, nope, clueless. I tend to watch docu-series or documentaries. I quite like. The most recent one I watched had to do with how Islam has impacted the modern world and society over the years, of course. So I found that quite interesting. I generally read I like reading historical fiction, and growing up I read quite a bit of that, and anything I can learn stuff from I like. I do read some of Terry Pratchett's book. I've got a friend who she lends me Terry Pratchett in sort of a sequence, because I don't know the books very well, and she's got all of them, so she lends them to me. I didn't get on with Terry Pratchett when I was younger, but I find as an adult I really like his sense of humor, and I can see where he's coming from. I've only really started reading again this year, the end of last year and this year. Oh, okay. Fringe is graphic. Now, the only graphic thing I've been watching this year is Game of Thrones, but I've been reading the books at the same time, so I kind of anticipate, and I know when to block my face, and I duck, and then hubby will tell me when to resurface again. But I haven't watched or read much of that lately because I've been reading up on dyslexia and other things like that, because 2 of the boys have recently been diagnosed with dyslexia. Oh, it's cool that you enjoy documentaries too, Kenny. My grandparents on my dad's parents, whenever I would go and visit them, every Sunday they would watch a nature documentary. And I always found that really, really fun. So nature documentaries are really great. And travel documentaries I quite like, because you get to see different places. And then you've also got the culture. I would watch more historical documentaries, but because the boys are still under 14, I find it a bit more tricky to carve time to watch those sort of documentaries. Oh, animal documentaries are lovely. We watched quite a few of those. Kids watched quite a bit of Steve Backshall. So his documentaries are quite cool, and it exposes the kids to different types of science and scientists. Oh, and the Bear Grylls survival things, they also quite watch. So I tend to watch with them. Either that or we end up watching cooking shows. So lots of baking shows, quite a fair amount of cooking shows. Used to watch Australian MasterChef. That was fun. Oh, I don't know Meerkat Manor. Hi Anna, how are you? Oh no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't watch Walking Dead. The title creeps me out. There's a limit. Although I know quite a few people who would, watch those sort of things and not be fazed by it. Oh, really, Connie? You liked it? Huh. I love how different people are. And the other thing I struggle watching generally is any slapstick kind of comedy humor. I tend to go away from it. I like, if it's going to be funny, I like it to be clever funny. So slapsticks don't really work. I can't tell yet if her hair is very similar to the other side or not. Oh, cool, Yana. You like British detective mysteries. That's cool. See, now the British baking shows I haven't gotten into just yet. We still watch quite a lot of the American things. So we've watched Is It Cake? Which a lot of our TV we watch off Netflix. So Is It Cake, where they do realistic cakes, and they get a whole lot of judges who have to come and see if they can spot the cake amongst realistic objects, so actual objects. So we watch that, and then my 8-year-old loves watching Sugar Rush. There's been a few others we've watched. We did watch School of Chocolate. That was quite cool. A French chocolatier, I think he's a chocolatier, and he teaches chocolate making to a variety of chefs. I should show them the British bake-offs. I've given up on trying to get BBC shows. Hubby isn't interested. He reckons that we get enough using Amazon and Netflix, and then I have I think it's just one subscription for specific to documentaries, and then if I need other stuff, I look on YouTube. Hi Brittany, how are you? Oh yes, I remember Cake Boss. It would make you want cake. We watched another one where you had a baker and then some sort of engineer, and then they would have to work together and build a cake that actually could move, and it had to have an engineering element to it. So that was also quite interesting. Not necessarily very pretty. I tried BritBox, but it didn't last very long for us. I struggled to find anything that would work for the family. And then we've also got, I suppose, we just struggle. We're not great with British humor. I think partly because we grow up with a bit more American style humor than British humor in South Africa. And I tried the boys on things like Horrible Histories, and there was a few other more British styles, and yeah, they didn't seem to take to it. So yes, I am South African, but I live in the UK. We moved to the UK about 5.5 years ago. So oh, that's cool, Connie. Whereabouts in South Africa are you? Oh, fair enough, Kenny. Cussing in shows is a bit off-putting, especially if it's just for the heck of it. I don't mind some swearing if there's like a context to it, and the context kind of makes it a bit more appropriate, but just cussing for the sake of it is, yeah, it leaves a yuck taste, doesn't it? Well, what we think is American humor and what actually is American humor might be different. I love the Big Bang Theory. That show we watched end to end. We've watched Young Sheldon, and that is brilliant. Oh, cool, Connie. You're in the Northern Cape. That's great. I hear you, Kenny. My grandma used to say the same thing. That if a person used swear word instead of it was a sign that they didn't have an extensive vocabulary. I grew up English. Yeah, so my mom is from Afrikaans background. My dad is more English. And then I didn't grow up in school, so I was homeschooled. And my mom she was working at the same time as homeschooling us. They were missionaries in Mozambique when I was much younger. So she just didn't have the time to teach us Afrikaans. But I used to watch as a teenager, because my mom loved the soapies. She would often put on Siva Delan and Isidingo. So the little bit of Afrikaans I picked up came from just watching my mom's soapies. And then I can read Afrikaans, and if people speak it slowly, I can get the gist of it. And there are a few catchphrases or certain things I can say in Afrikaans, but for the most part, I don't. I'm just more English. Hey, Shani, how are you? Oh, I don't know those shows, Leslie. They sound cool. Yes, soft kitty, warm kitty. Yeah, don't start us. We'll be singing that. I really like the way they do Young Sheldon, because they really connect between The Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon. And they do have the actor for Sheldon come in every so often. Actually, I think he does the voiceover. So the narrative voiceover, he will do it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. So you watch The Big Bang Theory, then you watch Young Sheldon, and end up wanting to rewatch The Big Bang Theory because you just remembered how much fun it was. Great. Now I've got soft kitties in my brain now. Oh, that's cool, Brittany, that you only have your Amazon Prime subscriptions and everything is free. That's great. Well, that's cool that your husband's parents were missionaries in Mexico, Leslie. That's really cool. How long were they there for? Right, I think I'm going to leave her hair here for now. I don't want to play with it too much and then end up changing it. And yeah, I think for now it looks okay-ish. Oh, thank you, Cully. Oh, thanks for the recommendation, Kenny. I'll have a look and see if I can find Father Brown and give it a go. Right, so now we have the wild rose, the leaves, and the bug. So let's see. Anybody know any great Polychromos color combinations for flowers and leaves? Oh, good gracious, 20 seasons, wow. All right, let's try a hooker's green and a permanent green. And we'll come and we'll do some leaves. I won't do all of them because I don't want to bore you with leaves. Okay, so permanent green. So I'm also going to use some cream. You're not bored with leaves, you need leaf practice. Cool. I don't know why there are insects in the woman's hair in this coloring book. It might be that the illustrator likes insects and she drew what she likes. I don't really know. You could, if you really don't like it, just white it out and then draw in the shape of the leaf and go over the insect with the leaf colors and then the hair. So in a way you would approach one of the older mythographics. What I like with this picture, there's no need to do a background. I really like it when I don't have to do backgrounds in pages. Well, Brittany, if you want to do autumn colors, then you should go for it. It's your coloring books and you can color them any way you like. Oh, I don't know a place to call home. Huh. You are giving me quite the education on TV. So how is your Anastasia Koldareva colouring going on? Because if I remember rightly, there was a colouring tag for it. Well, Roku's great. We use Roku and we quite enjoy it. Right, so you can also use Dark Indigo to deepen up your shadows. Well done, Shani. That's quite an accomplishment to finish 2 Anastasia pictures and have 1 to go. It's really great colouring. Leslie, she has got her dragons books, but she's mainly a portrait illustrator. So if you're not into portraits, then her work might not really work for you. I'm just thinking practically, really. She does have, like in her portraits, sometimes there will be plants or animals, but I have yet to see her do anything outside of portraits other than her dragons. And I think her dragon books were her earlier books. Hi Ronnie, how are you? Roku is more of a device than a network, as far as I understand. Yeah, Leslie, if you, I think the digital is probably your cheapest option, and at least that way you can try her stuff out before you commit to buying a book, because her books with the shipping are quite expensive. So I suppose buying the PDF is a good compromise, good way to try out her work before you decide on buying something and then it turns out it's not something you get on with. Yeah, that is a great point, Jody. You can scale them down. Oh, I'm glad you're doing well, Ronnie, and that it's been a good Monday for you. Have you guys been coloring anything besides the Anastasia books? Are there any other tags you are interested in at the moment? Oh, thank you, Connie. I'm glad you like the leaves. I'm just telling myself to keep my lights light and my darks dark. Space and Party by Hannah Carlson. I don't know that book. Oh, cool that you're using Inktense. Thank you. I'm glad you like the leaves. I hope you get your Anastasia book soon, Ronnie. They can take a while. I know when I bought mine, it did take a good couple of months before I got them. So when you guys use your Inktense, do you like to use it as a base, or do you like to color the entire picture with your Inktense pencils? What's your favorite way of using them? Oh, okay, cool. Her new children coloring books. That's cool. The only person other than you, Ronnie, I know of who does color in Hannah Carlson's children's book is Lavella's Coloring. So that's really cool to find out someone else who likes to color in them. Yes, I agree. As long as you activate Inktense. The tricky part with this side of the hair is with the flower and the leaves. I often miss a few patches of hair. So I've been slowly finding where I've missed hair and going back and coloring it back in. Oh, that's cool, Jody. Yeah, you are coloring it in twice. Oh, thank you, Kenny. Glad you like them. Thanks, Brittany. I didn't know there was a watercolor summer tag going on. I thought it was just for July. I didn't realize it was going on indefinitely for 2023. Just quickly finishing this hair because my goodness, I keep finding more tufts of hair. I think her leaves match, the leaves match her eyes. Looks pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Oh gosh, we all need the practice with backgrounds. They are not my favorite to color. Right, so I can do the same technique with the leaves further up. Oh, and down here. I forgot there was this leaf. Okay, wait, hang on. We'll do the leaf with the bug on, but I'll use the same colors for the leaves further up. So there's one long leaf. So what kind of insect do you think is sitting on this leaf? A moth? No, it doesn't have antennae. Maybe we can make it a fantasy bug insect thing. I'm running out of words. I don't mind insects. I think it's more spiders and snakes. I'm not a fan of coloring. Plug in my phone. It is plugged in and it's at 100%. It's my phone messages. I've got like a gazillion, well, it feels like a gazillion WhatsApp messages. So there's the ones for the boys rugby, and then I've got ones for our homeschooling community, and I think I've got about 3 or 4 different groups just for that. Yeah, there's a lot of groups. Oh, sorry, I'll try and remember to put my phone on mute so you don't all hear my messages kicking off. It's a tricky one because I put it on mute and then I will forget and somebody will try phone me and then they won't get through. So I tend to leave my phone on vibrate, so it makes a bit of a noise, but it doesn't demand my attention. Oh really, you don't like moths? I prefer butterflies to moths, but some of them are really pretty. I remember I've got a photo somewhere when I was younger, and I actually found a Luna moth outside. This was when we were still in Mozambique, and it could fit in my entire hand. So I took a photo. I had the moth in my hand. We took a photo and I held my hand up. It was very, very pretty. It was light, like pale green with a bit of yellow. It's not my favorite photo because I used to wear glasses. So I've got these massive spectacles on my face and I'm in my pajamas holding up this Luna moth for my dad to take a photo. Oh, thanks, Kenny. I'm glad they don't bother me. And I appreciate you helping out, Carly. I did leap up very quickly to double check my phone. So yeah, keep helping. Yeah, I do appreciate it. I find the bugs in Hannah Carlson's books a bit more tricky to color because of just the way she draws them. I don't know all the time which bits to make darker, which bits to keep lighter. Yeah, I could see how moths could be creepy. But don't get me wrong, like I like bugs and nature, but I have my favorites, and as long as I don't have insects crawling on me, I'm okay. You know, happy with them from a distance. So praying mantis, butterflies, moths, I'm okay with those sort of bugs. But if you bring a cockroach, no thank you. Yeah, no. No. Cockroaches are not my thing. Worms, nope, don't do worms. I'm happy to admire an insect on its natural habitat, in its natural environment, but I'm not going to volunteer to take them home for a pet. Like crickets I don't mind either, but again, as long as they don't jump on me. Yeah, I don't care for stinging stuff either. But yeah, if you keep calm, then they tend to just leave you alone. We used to have, so the house we were staying in when we first moved over to the UK had a fig tree in it. And every year, and we stayed there for about 3 years, and then I would pick the figs and enjoy them thoroughly because they are so yum. But I did a bit of research and I found out that I don't know if it's a specific variety of fig, but figs ripen when they have some type of wasp or actually lays its eggs inside the green fig, and then as something in the way the larvae hatches and all of that, it helps ripen the fig. Of course, the insect isn't there when you eat it, but I found that both gross and interesting at the same time. But it didn't put me off eating figs. It's just weird. I think it's like the enzymes of the larvae or the critter. It reacts with the green fig and just helps speed up the ripening process. It's very, very bizarre though. I know, it's really gross. Now, in South Africa, where we were staying, we would get Parktown prawns. Now, those are hideous, gross critters. And our one cat would actually hunt them, eat them, and we'd sometimes find just like one leg or two remaining. But you can't get rid of these darn things. And they're very difficult to terminate. So generally, if I saw one of these Parktown prawns come into the house, I'd call hubby. I'd be standing on the couch, terrified that this thing was going to come near me or jump on me, and I would ask him to please remove said critter, because my goodness, those things are really, really gross. I don't know how to share. Let me see if I can share a picture of it for you. no. All right. Here, if you want to see a really gross bug, this is what I mean by part-time porn. But if you're not into bugs and you don't want to, don't click the link. Oh dear. No, that's not gonna work. Yeah, the roaches are not cool at all. Here you go. There's a better one. Okay, there's the link. Min kukarot. Forgive my pronunciation if it's not really correct. I think those Parktown prawns are my worst bug ever. Ew. Flies are also gross. Actually, I think flies are probably amongst the more unhygienic insect out there. These are very long leaves. Oh really? They're good for the garden? How are they good for the garden? I don't want them anywhere near me. Yeah, they are really creepy. And they would, yeah, so we would leave in summer our front doors open so it get a bit of a breeze, and it's every so often they would come, this red critter, and I was like, oh, get it quick. And we'd have to throw it over the wall into the road to try and get it as far away from the house as possible, because we didn't want it coming back. Well, that's cool, Leslie. I didn't know that. Although I'm still not sure I'd want them in my garden. Because they are really tough to get rid of, and their exoskeleton's really hard. So I'd almost rather have the snails and all the other stuff that's not good for the garden than have to deal with a Parktown prawn. Unless I could work out a way to overcome my grossed out nature. Like, yeah, oh no. Ew, no, Kenny. Ew. The truth of flies is really gross. And when you watch videos about, you know, showing the way a fly actually eats, because I've taken the boys up to the Natural History Museum, and they do have a little exhibition showing you the different mouths insects have. And when you see the little video clip for the fly and the way a fly behaves, it's just so gross. And I hate maggots. Oh, I can't stand them. I just can't. So I think after this portrait is done, I'll go back to my little sloth and finish him up. But I need to redo the leaves on that picture. I feel like they're disappearing into his fur, so I need to rethink that. So on the topic of food, do you all meal prep? Do you cook what you fancy on the day? Oh no, Cully, no. No, that's just gross. Ah. Right, okay. Leaves are done. I don't know what to do with this bug, so we can leave it. You cook what you feel like. Oh, that's easy. Crackpot. I generally meal plan. I find it helps me with my shopping, and it helps keep me on track for the week. Some weeks I really don't know what to cook, and I actually will feel meh, just there. And then cooking really becomes hard. So I end up making food because I have to, but that's about it. So meal planning helps. Other days I just get bored. Like, I don't know what to cook. This is boring. It's hard work cooking. Whatever the hubby is hungry for. That's cool. Does he actually let you know what he fancies? Oh, cool. Anything with meat. Yeah, exactly. In our house, as long as it has meat, they're happy. I did try and make a vegetarian dish the one day, and I actually didn't realize it was. So I knew I was cooking, and I made it with lentils and legumes and stuff. And the amount of long teeth that my boys had because I cooked a vegetarian. And my husband looked at me and he's like, "Where's the meat?" And I said to him, "No, I was cooking a vegetarian. You said you wanted a vegetarian dish. And that you would be happy to have more legumes and lentils and that sort of thing." But anyway, he did eat it, but I could see he would much rather have had a meat in his dish. So our meals tend to need some form of protein, recognizable protein. Apparently, lentils are tolerable. Beans, any form of beans except green beans, all four boys are. So my husband and the boys, they kind of like, well, my husband will eat whatever I give him, but the boys particularly get fussy. Hi Kelly, how are you? Yeah, Ronnie, I think that's more, well, maybe that's more men in general. Meat, carbs, and then the ladies bring in the veggies and the healthy stuff. I mean, if I leave my husband, as much as I love him, with the boys and let him cook, I kid you not, all four of them will eat protein, carbohydrates, and that will be it. And they will think it's a good, healthy, happy meal. Oh, that's cool, Leslie. Yeah, I also get into cooking slumps. Oh, no worries, Kelly. I'm glad that you were able to join in the conversation. I like the canned lentils because you can stick them in just about any casserole or stew and they still cook quite quickly. And you don't have to spend, 5 or 10 minutes washing them. And they do add a nice filling. They do fill you up. So I like using them in soups or chicken casseroles. You could probably even put them in chili. Although I suppose traditional chili has more beans than lentils. But if my kids see beans, they just will not eat. If they see lentils, they will eat it. Exactly, Kenny. So for ground beef, I generally use ground beef as a pasta, but I do have a recipe for a Cajun beef soup. So that's quite nice. It uses ground beef and Cajun spice and tomatoes. And then sometimes I make a pasta dish with ground beef and a bit of yogurt at the end. So the yogurt becomes more of the sauce than the beef. Fish has been to be disguised with spice. Oh wow, fish and chicken is classified as veggies. That's interesting, Connie. Oh, Oh, okay. I didn't know chili was made without beans in the south. I always thought it had beans in it. Huh. So what makes chili then a chili? Is it the spice with the ground beef? How would you classify it? Oh, okay. Chili's a regional thing. Yeah, that's good to know. Vegan chili made with black beans and sweet potato. Interesting. Right, that is all the leaves done. I'm going to zoom it out and you can have a look. I think I will do the flowers and the moth or the bug or whatever it is next week because it is already almost 10:30, so I should probably look at wrapping up and getting some beauty sleep. So let's zoom out. Ta-da! Oh, okay, cool, thank you. It's a cicada. I will look up what a cicada looks like. Is it cicada or cicada? Right, I will look it up and have a look at colors and plan that all out. But yeah, I think she looks pretty. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for hanging out and chatting about all sorts. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you this time. Well, I'll see you 8 p.m. next week, Monday, for the final part of the picture. Oh, cool. So it's cicada. Cool. Make sure I get the pronunciation right. Oh, thank you. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.